everyone, Kumar Data Train here with Agile Meridian, and I'm joined by my colleague, partner, and good buddy, Chris Daly, and we are going to talk about, you know what, I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about. I think it has something to do with Minecraft, and you're probably wondering, what does Minecraft have to do with Agile? Chris, what does Minecraft have to do with Agile?
That's a good question. You know, one of the things that I've done for years is in Scrum, in my Scrum training class, when we're training Scrum Masters or teams, I would use Legos, and we would go through and we'd go through the curriculum, right? And we'd talk about what a Scrum Master is and sprint planning and all that stuff. And then we would break up into teams and we would go up and I would create a backlog and we would create an integrated city. So I might have 3 or 4 teams and they'd be building each one would take a sticky note, right? And they'd go off and they'd build a jail, or they'd build a hospital, or they'd build a 2-story house or a 1-story house. And we'd walk through the scale, there's a couple dynamics there in addition to the team, right? So you got multiple teams coming together and they would, and invariably one would make a house 3 blocks high and another would make it 8 blocks high. And you'd have to talk through about how, okay, now we need to agree on what scale is and how that works. We'd go through and we'd have to talk about, how getting them in there, right? The necessity to take a little bit of time to integrate, to make sure everything works. And it would give them an opportunity to go through and try to learn how to do Scrum, right? And so we would do that. And it was always fun. Well, when we got hit with the virtual, we got hit with COVID and everybody was forced to go virtual, I've been struggling to figure out a way to do that exercise because, the Lego exercise is really kind of fun. And it's interesting to see what they do with what you give them. I happen to have 2 tubs about yay big and, yay tall, full of Legos and plates and everything. And we'd spend days. I actually became known as the Lego man at one of the academies I was teaching at, where I'd go in and I'd do a 1-day Scrum class and we'd spend the first half day reviewing, talking about Scrum. And then second half of the day, we'd spend playing games and doing Legos. And so I've struggled with that. And I've always been focused on trying to find something that we could use that was kind of an open space type game where you could go in and just craft, right? You didn't have to fit within their constraints. They'd have constraints, but where you could just go in and just do something and basically have a sandbox that they could go in and play. And I was doing some research and I started out doing a lot of work around a tool called GatherTown, which you're familiar with, Kumar, right? You introduced me actually to GatherTown back when I was a couple of years ago when I joined Meridian. And we were talking about using it and how we might use it for a class. And so I was thinking about using that as a way to construct a town. Yep.
Maybe it'd be useful just to talk about what GatherTown is, just for a minute, just in case people don't know. Of course, you can always look at the show notes, get a link for it and see. But what is GatherTown, Chris?
GatherTown is a tool that allows you to be able to use you create your own little pixelated character, and then you move around town. And as you're moving around, you're moving in and out of spaces. You can go into a building. When you go in the door of the building, you can go into a room, right, that's decorated. Maybe it's a library or maybe it's a doctor's office or whatever you want to do. You can get, sometimes they'll have game areas, game pavilions. They'll have game events where you can go and do little things. You can get yourself in a little car and putter around town and things like that. And what it does is it allows you to be able to create a space that people can operate in. If you think about a virtual conference, right, you might have 5 different meetings going on at the same time, 5 different sessions. And so how in Zoom you do, you can go in and you can pick your rooms, right? You can have breakout rooms. But with GatherTown, you literally move your character to the room. And when you get close to a character like you and I do, then my microphone turns on and your microphone turns on, and we can just have a conversation rather than having to go to a room or you're stuck with chat. So it's really kind of this interactive little tool. And you can build your own space with it. So you can using, essentially, the same kinds of technology that they use in Minecraft and others. You can use that same technology and build your own towns. Yes. I feel like I'm in school.
Say that I don't want to just interrupt you. That would be rude, especially when you're on a roll.
Just you and I.
But it was developed by, I forget what university, but they used it during COVID to hold classes in that university. So it's a great alternative to Zoom and Teams and all these things because it introduces the illusion, if you will, of movement. So you embody this avatar and you can kind of move around. And like you said, when you get close to someone, you see them and you can talk to them. And when you start to move away, their image fades out and then their voice fades away, just like in the real world.
Right.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. I really liked it. So, what does this have to do with Minecraft?
Well, I'm part of a grant through. We Agile Meridian got in as part of a grant with the IUPUI School of Informatics, which is known as the Luddy School. And so as part of that grant, we're working with 6th to 8th graders. And so, I was trying to figure out, okay, now what do I do? Gather Town's really complex. And I stumbled across Minecraft education. And so what we're going to do, and actually it's good timing we're recording this because this is by the time this gets out, we're actually going to be doing it. Starting on Monday, we're actually going to be working with 6th to 8th graders, and we're going to use it's really cool, and we're going to use this Minecraft education version and take them through how to build a product and take them through our product journey loop of why are you building this thing, who you building it for. We're going to talk about what the options are, figuring out how you're going to build it, and then actually get into building it. And we're going to use a sprint backlog. We're going to use sprints. We're going to use a demo, and they're actually going to show it. So we've actually built in all of the things we would teach in our the product mindset class. We're building all that and using that inside of, or most of it inside of this Minecraft game with these 6th to 8th graders. And the ultimate idea is that we will take this, once we vet out this process and concepts and make sure it works, that the thought is that we could build I like to think of it like a museum, right? Where you go into a museum and you see various things. We can build an interactive way for people to go in and do go in using a tablet or a Chromebook or a laptop, go in and actually learn about Agile and Scrum, and then go off and build it together. It's really interesting. You and I have had these conversations a little bit about engaging people. Right, that's one of the things that we're both kind of interested in terms of courses and workshops. How do you engage people? How do you get them to be? How do you get them so that they don't want to leave, and they love what they're doing, and they're learning at the same time. And what's really interesting about this is that my generation, is one where, my first video game was Pong, right? I think I've talked about that in another video. And so for me, I'm not as hooked on games and cell phones and those kind of things. But the kids, the people that are coming up behind us, right? The 15-year-olds, the 10-year-olds, up through the 35 to 40-year-olds are gamers, right? And so this environment of taking something that is, Minecraft, which is known throughout the world, right? There's millions of people that know how to play Minecraft, hundreds of millions of people. And if we can figure out a way to use this as an educational tool, the possibilities for this are just phenomenal. It also leads us into us being you and I in Agile Meridian. It leads us from the traditional way of doing a course of, we're going to have the intro, we're going to have an intro, an icebreaker, We're going to do these things in day one, these things in day two, these things in day three, and make it more of a adventure for our learners, right? That they're going to be learning at their own pace and their own discovery versus it being you and I pontificating what they should believe, right? We're going to let them actually go in and do it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love the idea of it. And I know we've talked about it before, so I'm not completely clueless, except I'm kind of clueless, but not completely clueless about what you're doing with mine. And I think that it's really does indulge or involve the learner at a different level than a normal course. One of the things that I've been doing for years is trying to figure out, as you have, how to involve the learner as much in the learning process. Because most courses, the courses that stuck with me are because of the instructor, not because of the content. And what I mean by that is the instructor made it so, the facilitator made it so that us, the learners, were involved in some activity, and so we learned from the experience of the activity more so than from the instructor. And the instructor was able to flow seamlessly to facilitate the learning that we were going through by suggesting something or by guiding us in a certain way or a certain thing. And I wonder, how will that translate to a virtual environment like Minecraft and GatherTown?
It will. I think the best example I have is I prototyped this at spring break with a group of students for 2 hours. And in this particular case, for you and I, it's been a while since we've had 6th to 8th graders, right? It's been that before we've had that kids at that age in our house. And it's completely, during this week of spring break where I participated in these workshops, it was crazy. The kids were running everywhere. You had a hard time controlling them. You had a hard time keeping their attention. And all of a sudden we took this and we gave them the devices, and the volume in the room went way down. And the conversation changed from, one guy punching his buddy, right? Another dude, somebody making fun of their friend, another person on the phone. All of a sudden, they're all on these tablets we were using at the time, and they're engaged in what they're doing. And they got through. We used just as a prototype, I used the they've got a digital citizen lesson that is really good, right? And all these guys don't have digital citizen backgrounds, right? They don't really understand about sharing information like passwords and their phone numbers and stuff like that. So I used that as an example, as a prototype, and they went through it, and they were able to get through it. Said an hour and a half to 2 hours, and about half the class got through it in an hour. They engaged, they learned. When they got done, we talked about what they learned, and it was they had it. If we can just figure out a way to harness the brain of our learners in a way where it's fun to learn, it's not learning anymore, right? It's playing a game, and we can build it into that.
Well,
we can go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, gamification is all the rage. It has been for a while. In fact, the social media companies out there that have been using gamification for a decade or more. How did Facebook hook a whole generation of users? It's through gamification. It's through that social reward mechanism where you're rewarded by your friends and the people in your circle for the things that you say and you do, and of course that's sort of a virtuous or maybe vicious cycle, depending on your opinion of Facebook, to right, to keep engaging in the community and to keep sharing and keep wanting to get those likes and those types of things. And so it's trying to figure out how to use gamification and learning in a way that is, again, not nefarious in any way, but that enhances the learning and helps people remember what they learned. I'm curious why you chose to use a virtual simulation in a real live classroom of 6th graders.
Well, it wasn't by choice, because I started out with I literally dusted off the boxes of Legos and took them in, and we did those, and it kept them engaged for 20 minutes, right?
Okay.
But then they'd see their friend go by, and their friend would say, "Come on, let's go play basketball," and they'd go, right? Because I can't very well chain them to the desk.
Yeah,
That's kind of illegal. And so, as I was trying to do, as I'm trying to figure this out, I was really lucky. Like I said, I started with GatherTown as a way to approach it. And again, thinking about it all through COVID, about how do we do this virtually? How do you do this great exercise virtually? It just you point me in the direction of GatherTown, and then GatherTown not working, being more complex to build. And it takes a while to get up to speed on it, right? Just like any other tool. And Minecraft, a lot of these kids know how to do Minecraft. They've been playing Minecraft. So we added an intern who I'm not sure I'm at liberty to say in a recording, right? But I've got an intern working with me, and we didn't the time it takes you normally take getting somebody up to speed is virtually non-existent, because he steps right in and he knows. He did all the Minecraft exercises. He's building his own castle right now. He went with me today when we went to talk. We went through the onboarding process, right, at the community center we're doing this at. And he just steps right in, right? I mean, it was very, very easy. It was easy for him to understand, and it was in a platform he's familiar with. So
that's really very interesting to me. I'm so eager to see the results of next week and how you use it. But more importantly, I think it's going to be a smashing success with the kids, because the kids they've grown up in this virtual world. They're familiar with all of these tools. Kids play games. I mean, my kids, they're older now. They're young men, really, but they're still very much gamers at heart, and the younger ones certainly so, right? They're very, very familiar with these tools, and they can pick it up real quick. But I'm curious, is this a platform, do you think, that might work with adults? Professionals that if we try to engage them in using tools like GatherTown and Minecraft to learn some things of complexity, like a product journey loop. You brought that up, and we'll include a link to a video as to what that is down in the show notes. But as actually going through the product cycle, the development cycle of it combines parts of design thinking and parts of product delivery itself, product development and delivery, but in a very iterative cycle of doing that. Do you think that would be something that would work with adults?
It depends, right? I give the typical consultant answer. It depends. For somebody who is like me, like my friends, right? I've got some friends that are right at my age that are 3 years away from retirement. No, right? Yeah. That's not. We're going after this type of an approach not because of where we are. It's where the market's moving, right? And the way education is moving. And 5 years ago, you couldn't afford a VR headset, right? And I got one hanging right over here that I play golf on all the time, right? Instead of getting my fat butt out to go play to the golf course that's like a mile away, I can stay in my house and play virtual golf. Things are moving that way. And so, with us and being Meridian, right, we're focused on trying to meet the needs of our clients today. But the analogy I use for us when it comes to these kind of things is that, Wayne Gretzky once was asked, how is it that you're so great at hockey? How is it you're always able to score? And I'm paraphrasing now, but his comment was, most people skate to where the puck is. I skate to where the puck's going to be, right? And that's really what this is. We're really, my passion about this is where we're going to be going forward, and where things are going to be, so that we're, being Agile Meridian, are able to go and do this and be there as part of the change that's occurring, right? And, another shameless plug. we're trying to be disruptors rather than being disrupted.
Yeah.
Right? So we want to be one of them that's out there talking about it and moving the needle forward. So I think it's going to make, I really do think it's where things are going. Now, is it going to be Minecraft? It's probably not. It's going to be in a virtual reality headset. It could be in a network of a number of network devices that are hooked together in virtual reality, whether it's computer or whatever. But that's really where I think things are going. And, this grant that we got is for under-resourced folks, right? Mm-hmm. It's for under-resourced 6th to 8th graders. It's in one of the less privileged areas of Indianapolis, and that's who we're working with. Mm-hmm. And, when you think about in corporate America, it's great when you've got somebody that will pay the $1,200 for the class for you to go attend, right? But what do you do if you don't have access to that? How do we help them? And I think it's probably not. I don't think it'll be as effective as a one-on-one training, but I think it's got other aspects that are very valuable. Like, for example, you can start and stop. You can do a little bit of work on it yourself, and then you can stop and you can come back to it tomorrow. Yeah. We can do it remotely too.
Or you could assign asynchronous work, so they do some things on their own, or they work with their little group, their cohort, their team to build something, and then you come together to review what they've done, provide some lecture, some instruction, some guidance, which is what a lot of training is moving to your point, even in the adult learning space, right? So cohort-based training programs are quite popular. In fact, we're doing that now with our leadership program, as you know, and we're probably going to be moving our coaching programs that way as well, so that people can immerse themselves more in the learning. And I'm really excited about this. And by the way, we aren't the first to use Minecraft in adult education. Peter Merrill from Xscale has been using it for a couple of years now. There's a game that Xscale plays. It's called Game Without Thrones, or Game Without Thrones, or something like that. And basically the premise of the game, to play on the show, the Game of Thrones, is that in an Agile environment, you don't need commanders or kings or queens to be in a throne. It's an autonomous culture that really thrives. And so in his game, it's really teams of people using, in this case, Minecraft, to build a castle and integrate their castles into a system of castles, kind of like the Lego City game that you used to play back in the day when you used to teach in a real classroom. And he's been quite successful at doing that. I was actually participated in some of those. So I don't know if he was a pioneer, but he certainly has been using it for a while. So it might be worthwhile checking with him to see how this platform might work for adult learners. Now, all the people that came to the conference to play the game were kind of geeks, like Peter is, and like I am, and like you are. But what about all the people that aren't, How do you get them trained on using these tools?
Well, that's, first of all, Minecraft, you can download, right? So they can download Minecraft and they can do it themselves. There are hundreds of lessons in Minecraft Education Edition. And so you can have people go in and do those lessons. As what I did is I had them go through digital citizenship and then go through cyber privacy, right? Mm-hmm. So the kids that weren't familiar with Minecraft got familiar with it, right? They're playing the game, they're working. And then what interestingly I saw, which I'm sitting here thinking, okay, these kids are going to be into it. They're going to, the ones that are going to struggle are going to struggle. And what we saw was the ones who were really good at it were helping the ones who weren't very familiar with it, right? And if you think about the real world, we all don't come in at an expert level. We come in with a junior developer, maybe a junior tester, a senior product architect, whatever the titles are, we bring together, and they all have to pitch in and help each other. And so what happened is they started building empathy with each other and building relationships with each other, which is, that's again, as part of the Lego game. And we're able to do that as part of the as part of building the castle or building, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever thing, whether they're building an amusement park or whatever they might be building. What's interesting too is taking it one step further and making it not just the building side, but making it the educational side. So, the five team members go through the museum or whatever and learn Scrum and learn the basics of it together, and then go off and do it. You really again shift it from us to somebody else. You were describing where you said, they're going to go off and do some activities and then they come back. That's really the flipped classroom approach, right?
Yeah,
or
it is. Yeah.
The other way we know it, the other way professionally we know it is training from the back of the room.
Correct.
Right? The Sharon Bowman book, where you try to get people where they spend their time out learning on their own, and then they come back and the projects are actually done together.
Yeah, we're doing that now, by the way. I mean, that. We're doing that now with our leadership program and our Agile fundamentals and things like that. I'm wondering if our platform, our community platform and our training platform is something where we can experiment using Minecraft and provide some training, some kind of coursework for adults, and see how it works using Minecraft and GatherTown as an experiment. That would be really cool to do. Get some data.
We're looking for, and I started doing that. I started making some posts into the community about, what do you think about this, right? Not necessarily posting them as community resources, but asking people what do you think about this? Does this make sense to you, right? And being almost like the beta tester. And you and I had talked about taking some of these courses and making them available. And I absolutely believe that would be a great way to get feedback. I mean, we've got a pretty big community in terms of the number of people we've got. If we can get a subset of them to be able to come in and do that and help us with that, I think that'd be great. Another opportunity for us is, I've been thinking about restarting the Agile Games Indie meetup group. And that might be another opportunity for us to go in and actually, get some people that are interested, get them together, get some feedback, and by doing that, get some evangelists out there about what we're doing.
Absolutely. Well, we're coming up on close to 30 minutes here on our Agile, not so short video. But this has been really fun talking about this, and it's getting the gears turning in my head as to how to use these tools. I'm wondering if maybe we can schedule our next video and actually make it a sort of a live event. And although these are kind of live, make our next event a live event where we do something small using Minecraft and see how that goes.
I think that'd be great. I would, as far as I'm concerned, this is what I like doing. I mean, gamification and trying to figure all this out. I mean, it blends a nice world of the tech of how you're going to do this, along with with the business side of, how do you actually run a team? How do you work together as a team and build something, right? And how do you learn Scrum and Agile? So it's kind of got the best of both worlds for me.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many things you can use it for. You could have lessons around leadership, short little lessons around leadership, and have some discussions around that, or product building, or you name it. It certainly has application. Well, anyway, we could talk all day about this. I'm sure, as passionate as you and I are about this topic, we would talk all day about this.
Yeah, I would enjoy that.
Yeah, but we should probably end the call here soon. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll have some links to the PJL, the Product Journey Loop, so you'll see what that's about, and also links to join our community. And if you're interested in volunteering to help us, test this concept, build this concept, please join our community. It's a private community, and we'll be really happy and thrilled to have you in there. So any parting thoughts?
You might want to throw in that you can join in first 30 days are free.
Absolutely right. Well, the community as a whole is free, but then we do have some channels within it that are paid, like our leadership channel and our coaching channel. And so if you decide to join, it's always free. The free parts are free. And there's a lot to get in the free parts of the community, which includes tons of material and content and access to videos. All right. Anything to add, Chris?
Nope, I'm good.
All right.
Thanks for letting me rant.
Of course. So you got to hit the...
There we go.